Hello, and welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today we have a special beer, a beer unlike any we have reviewed before, and it's about time. The beer I'm going to review for you today is not a craft beer, however, it is probably the most popular beer in Japan, and it is also the kind of poster boy for corporate beer, and craft beer geeks love to diss this beer, but I'm going to review it for you. It is called Asahi Super Dry. So this is produced by Asahi Breweries, and it's a pale lager, international premium, and this beer is 5% alcohol and 20 international bittering units. And it's been around for quite a while. They released it in March of 1987, and they had done some consumer research, and they found that beer drinkers in Japan wanted less maltiness and a light aftertaste and a crisp, clean, clear finish. And also, so what they did was made a beer that was very highly attenuated, meaning the yeast had eaten up most of the malt sugar, the sugar produced from the wort, and very, very high. So a special yeast to produce this very high attenuation. And this actually started what's called the dry wars in Japan, and other breweries began putting out their version of a dry beer, a beer that had less maltiness and a kind of crisp, dry finish. But Asahi was the winner, and this went on to become the most popular beer in Japan. I think it still is, I do not know. At the top you can see it says Karakuchi, which has the idea of a very crisp, dry sort of finish. And on here it says, Asahi Super Dry is brewed with precision to high quality standards under the supervision of Japanese master brewers. Our advanced brewing techniques deliver a dry, crisp taste and quick, clean finish. We call it Karakuchi. It's also the official beer of the 2020 Olympics and Paralympics as well. So they have their symbols on here. And as I said, craft beer geeks love to diss this beer as being a flavorless beer. It would be kind of the equivalent of what Budweiser is in the United States for craft beer people. That said, I think we should give it a go. And as a little bonus, we're going to try this one, which came out recently. It's Asahi Super Dry Nama Jockey Can, and it has a special opening. We can open it like a big can and give ourselves a big wide mouth to drink out of. We'll try this one as well. It's basically the same beer. It is the same beer. So shall we give this one a go? Asahi Super Dry. I have rated this before. It's not a regular beer for me at all. I rated it 2.3 out of 5 in 2013, so quite a few years back. Here we go. And I know craft beer geek friends of mine are going to give me trouble for this, but gotta try everything, right? And I have had this before, for sure. Okay, it is a typically nice, crisp, clear, light gold straw color with a very fluffy finger and a half of white foam. Kind of thick foam. The aroma, it's got a kind of hint of malt. Something doesn't want me to drink this beer. I think there's cat hair on the glass from my cat. Maybe my cat doesn't want me to drink this beer. So light maltiness, some grassiness, a bit spritzy, maybe a touch of citrus. Okay, very, very thin maltiness, as intended. The yeast has eaten away most of the sugar in this beer. But as I say, 20 international bittering units, you can kind of get the hops out of this. It is clean. It does have some flavor, but it's not great flavor. It's kind of mild. On Rate Beer, this one has 2,894 ratings, and the average score is 2.38, close to what I gave it so many years ago. 4 percentile for all beers on Rate Beer, and 26 for its style, which is pale lager or international premium lager. On Untapped, this one has 335,601 ratings, and the average score is 3.08, so nearly a point higher than on Untapped or on Rate Beer. So it is very highly attenuated. It does have the completely dry finish. Not completely. It's not like a very highly attenuated champagne or anything like that. But it's dry for sure, which is what it is named for. It's called Asahi Super Dry. Okay, I'm going to take a break, and then we will come back and take a look at the Nama Jockey. Okay, and now we're going to take a look at the new can that they brought out recently for Asahi Super Dry, and beer people in Japan were just posting this all over Instagram nonstop, and it's Asahi Super Dry. It's the same beer, but with a can that comes off completely, like a tuna can or something like that, a pull-off tab, and they call it fresh or Nama beer, and it's called Nama Jockey, not jockey, but jockey, and jockey means beer mug in Japan. So you might get a draft beer in a beer mug here, and they're trying to recreate that kind of experience where you would drink out of a wide mouth, big mouth kind of container. So it has this wide opening. It's supposed to give a frothy head. I'm going to open it up and see. Some people have said this kind of flows over, so I'm kind of ready for that. It really pops open. And opening here, the head has, and as you can see, it does have the opening here, and so you can drink it as you might out of a beer glass or a mug. But basically it is Asahi Super Dry. People were worried that perhaps you might be cutting your mouth on this edge, but apparently they've figured out how to make it not too sharp on the inside. So the idea is you get larger sips than you would from a normal can of beer. They have a special lining inside that creates the small fizzy bubbles and no sharp edges. It is 340 milliliters as opposed to 350, which is the standard size for a can of beer like this. And the head of foam, of course, we know what foam does. I mean, allowing esters and aromas to escape and be present in part of the experience here. But for a beer like this, it doesn't really matter because there's not much to smell. That said, Japanese drinkers tend to like large heads of beer, or rather on their beer. And I mean, if you go to a standard izakaya in Japan, they may serve you a glass of beer with this much foam, and nobody will ever complain about it, except the occasional foreign beer geek who will come in and say, "I paid for a full glass of beer, you gave me this much." So, in any case, I don't know if you'll see this around much anymore. It seems like, certainly just a gimmick, but give it a try and see. It's too bad they couldn't do it with a better beer, but yeah, and this is the Asahi Super Dry Nama Jockey Can. Yeah. Okay, well, we're done with that. We're done. I finally reviewed the most popular beer in Japan, Asahi Super Dry, not a craft beer, of course, but made by a major beer company. And apparently, Kirin overtook Asahi this year in terms of sales, but Asahi had been the leader in sales for many, many years, primarily because of this one beer, Asahi Super Dry. That's it for today. If you have any more questions about Asahi beer or Japanese beers or anything related to beer, let's talk. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.